The day started with the news that 4 BSF Jawans were killed and 5 injured as the Pakistan Rangers violated the ceasefire along the international border in Jammu and Kashmir Samba district. The BSF says that while India has honoured this agreement, Pakistan has not, and that this betrayal will not go unpunished.
The BSF paying homage to its fallen soldiers killed in Pakistani firing in the Ramgarh sector of Jammu and Kashmir. Assistant Commandant Jatinder Singh, Sub-Inspector Rajneesh Kumar, ASI Ramnivas and Constable Hansraj were killed after Pakistani attackers came close to the border and resorted to heavy firing. 5 other soldiers were injured. According to the BSF, ASI Ramnivas was injured when he responded to unprovoked firing from Pakistan. When a team led by Assistant Commandant Jatinder Singh rushed there to evacuate him, they also came under heavy fire.
पाकिस्तान की तरफ से समय समय पर इस प्रकार की घटनाएं होती रहती हैं और वाकई में ये बड़ा चिंता का विषय है और लेकिन हमारे जो सेना के जवान हैं वो उसका मुंह तोड़ जवाब देते हैं.
The BSF says the violation of ceasefire by Pakistan after an agreement to maintain peace on the border is a betrayal.
Announcements made, the decisions taken are decisions meant to be honored, We have honored it. Pakistan has not. And what Pakistan does is Pakistan's business. How we respond to the betrayal is our job.
The attack is a serious setback to the May 29th understanding between top army officers of both sides. The Director Generals of Military Operations, or DGMOs. They had agreed to honour the 2003 ceasefire in letter and spirit. It was also followed by a meeting between the BSF and the Pakistani Rangers to maintain peace on the international border. Officials say in the last 5 months, more than 1,000 ceasefire violations have been reported. In the last 1 month, 8 BSF personnel have been killed in Pakistani firing. 2 BSF soldiers were killed on the 3rd of June.
Hopes of thaw on borders had rekindled after BSF and Pakistan Rangers agreed to give peace a chance on June 5. But it turned out to be a very short-lived. BSF says killing of its 4 personnel in Pakistani firing is a betrayal by Pakistan and it will not go unpunished. In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi, NDTV.
So what one isn't able to understand is why, when both countries had agreed and top military officials from both sides had agreed to uphold the letter and spirit of the ceasefire, why it is unraveling so quickly and what can be done in order to save it and to save its sanctity. Joining us tonight is Lieutenant General D.S. Hooda, who is the Northern Army Commander. Also with us, Lieutenant General Ata Hasnain, who was, of course, the head of the 15th Corps in the Kashmir Valley, and Air Vice Marshal Shahjad Chaudhry is joining us from Pakistan tonight via Skype. General Hooda, to you first. Why do you think that this has happened? You know, in just a matter of days, you just had the DGMOs coming to this agreement that yes, we'll uphold the ceasefire in letter and spirit. You had the BSF and the Pakistan Rangers meeting as well. Why do you think it's come apart so fast?
Nidhi, let me first start by saying that you know, as far as ceasefire agreements are concerned, I think it's a good thing if we can have a ceasefire agreement. It's good for the military. It's very good for the population because you don't want to see thousands of people displaced. I'm skeptical, honestly, about the latest agreement between the 2 DGMOs. And the reason I say this is, the agreement has to be on the basis of some strong principles which can carry the agreement forward. Unfortunately, we don't have those kind of principles in place. Merely saying, let's stop firing at the borders will not do. Let me just explain this a little further. Why do ceasefire violations occur? They occur because of terrorist activities that are taking place close to the line of control. So Pakistan will fire in support of ceasefire, in support of infiltration by terrorists, which you've seen has been continuing, even during this period. The Indian Army will respond by targeting posts which are supporting infiltration or in retaliation to incidents like what has recently happened when, soldiers who are patrolling close to the line of control or the international border are attacked, mutilation takes place. Now, unless this basic issue of support to terror activities close to the line of control and the border is clearly addressed by Pakistan Army, I just don't see how the agreement can be a success or be taken forward. So there has to be this basis that Pakistan must stop or prevent terrorist activities close to the line of control. It's only then that we will see some success to the ceasefire. Otherwise, I'm afraid incidents like this at the local level are going to invite retaliation, and the ceasefire will unravel.
In fact, you made that point about infiltration, and General Hasnain, in fact, that's what the GOC was telling my colleague Zafar Iqbal as well in Srinagar just yesterday, that almost every night a serious infiltration attempt is being made. We have seen actually quite a few encounters taking place in recent days that show us the evidence of just that. The point is, why did Pakistan then agree to upholding the ceasefire? I mean, are there wheels within wheels that are at work here in the establishment across the border? What do you think is going on?
Nidhi, firstly, let me commence by expressing my deep regret for the loss of lives of the BSF here. All good Indian national soldiers who unnecessarily been martyred for their country. But having said that, I would like to respond to you in two parts. First, specifically to this incident, and second, to the generic aspect of the ceasefire. This particular incident is not a ceasefire violation. A ceasefire violation means firing across the border at each other, perhaps. This is a proper, full-fledged bat action. The manner in which it has been described and with the manner in which I've been seeing it, watching it on television today, it was a predetermined, very well-planned operation to actually impose casualties on the BSF. And therefore, it has to be responded to in its fullest form. There is no way that the BSF or the Indian Army can hold back on this. My strongest recommendation is it should take place locally in the same area. I would not recommend escalating this to horizontally to any other areas. But coming to the larger question of why is Pakistan doing it, I fully endorse what General Hooda said. You see, this is not an agreement even. This is just an acceptance of each, from across the border for each other, that we will not fire. 2003, we did it. The political environment perhaps was good. It held on till 2007. And from 2007 onwards, it kept on deteriorating over a period of time. Now, one fine day, you find that the DGMOs have spoken. There has been a little bit of back-channel work on this. But it's not an agreement again. Last time, at least, if nothing, Pervez Musharraf had at least stated in January 2004 that Pakistani territory will not be used for any further activities against India. This time we haven't heard of anything at all. So I think this is a bit of a sham. It is giving a little bit of a weight to the so-called suspension of operations in the hinterland, and that's about all. From my side, there is no ceasefire on the line of control. And I can visualize in the next few days there will be a fair amount of escalation on the line of control.
And that's actually
worrying, because primarily is
that is worrying, because I think, as General Hooda rightly put it, it's a ceasefire. If it works, it's good for the forces, it's good for the population that lives on the borders. And we've seen the evidence of what it was like before 2003 and after 2003, especially in those immediate years after it was announced.
100%.
Shehzad Chaudhry,
endorse that.
Shehzad Chaudhry, give us the Pakistani perspective here. From your point of view, why do you think it's escalating again? Just when we saw signs that things could actually be brought under control?
One, it amazes me that the two generals are surprised that the ceasefire violations take place or have been taking place. I mean, this has been going on now consistently and persistently at a very highly escalatory level since 2013. I mean, we're not talking of thousands of violations now within a calendar year. And on the Pakistani side, I think it's about 300 or 250 odd people who've been killed along the border region, especially in the Jammu area. So that is something, a matter of fact that both sides are well aware of, and the DGMOs have been talking about it. And just recently, they agreed to uphold the unilateral ceasefire agreement that the two generals have already mentioned to you, which was signed, or which was agreed to in 2003. It wasn't signed. It wasn't an agreement signed between the two nations. It was a unilateral agreement on both sides, respected by both sides. So why does it happen? The predicament that Pakistan has is that after having lost about 250 plus civilians in this particular genocide that takes place from across the border, unfortunately, of the civilians in Pakistani settled areas, Pakistan has got nothing else to respond with but then to target the military or the BSF or the uniformed people on the other side.
I know you're going to say it is a Pakistani response to Indian aggression, but
we cannot address the Indian aggression.
I think we're all adults here. What about the fact that the Pakistani army is providing cover fire to terrorists to infiltrate into Jammu and Kashmir? Mr. Chaudhary, let's have an adult conversation about this, please.
Can I complete my? Can you give me the time to say, please? So rather than attacking, because we cannot attack the Muslims on the other side, because that will be that will actually entail Pakistan attacking the Kashmiris, which obviously is impossible.
Which Pakistanis are doing, which Pakistani terrorists are doing.
From where the fire comes, that needs to be engaged.
You kill Kashmiri policemen all the time.
Keep doing that. But just 2 days back, let me just.
Is this not cover fire for infiltrators, sir?
Ma'am, can I? After the 2 DGMOs had spoken, we lost, I think it was 2 or 3 or 6 civilians on the Sialkot border with Jammu. Now tell me, Sialkot is not Kashmir. And why is India attacking the settled parts of Kashmir? That is something that actually surprises us. You have a fenced layer.
We have 42 civilians who have died in ceasefire violations this year alone. On our side, I know you've lost people there too. It is both sides, but you need to acknowledge that your army has a problem because it's not ending its cover fire for infiltrators. Which then brings me to the question, General Hooda, how do you save this ceasefire? Is it possible to save it, or is it now? I mean, for all practical purposes, as General Hasnain says, it's over. It doesn't exist.
There can be.
Let me ask General Hooda first about that. How do you save it?
You have a double fence which is 30 foot wide. And nobody can enter through that double fence.
The fence is not everywhere. It's on very uneven terrain. We know that.
So how can
Mr. Chaudhary, let me please get General Hooda in. Yes, General Hooda.
See, I think as I said, we look at ceasefire agreement as a positive.
General Hooda, yes, go ahead.
In case you want,
can we please load the audio?
Then you need to give me equal
time.
I mean,
Please, Shahzad Chaudhary, please. I'm coming to you. There's just the 3 of you on this program. It's not a shouting match. Yes, General Hooda, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think the way to save it, honestly, is for the 2 DGMOs to sit down. Pen an agreement. General Hasnain also mentioned that there is no agreement on paper. Pen an agreement, lay down conditions which build confidence that we will not, as he said, use our territory for terrorism purposes. We will man our borders so well that people from our side, on the Pak side, are not coming across for infiltration. We will not send bad teams across. If these concrete steps are laid down, then it forms a good basis on which we say, fine, if this agreement is agreed to, then we will not do firing. I think the second thing to be done is a little greater engagement at the local level. Local flag meetings must take place. A lot of the dynamics of the ceasefire violations that take place actually occur at the local level. What is happening in front of one post or one battalion? Just as General Hasnain said, if 4 BSF persons have been martyred in one area, then the escalation generally is limited to that area. So if there are more local flag meetings that take place, local commanders meet on both sides, some confidence gets built between the 2 sides. I think that's the way to take it forward. But ultimately, Pakistan Army has to understand that if you want peace on the borders, you will have to stop exporting terror from your side. I mean, that's the bottom line, Nidhi.
Yeah, that is I think you're absolutely right. I have a quick question for you and General Hasnain before we wrap this up. General Hasnain, I just want to talk about the other ceasefire, the internal ceasefire within the Kashmir Valley. A decision has to be taken about whether to extend that now. Eid is coming up later this week, and we know that violence has gone up. Terrorist attacks have gone up, grenade attacks have gone up. This is the Home Ministry's assessment, and they have numbers. We're putting them out on the screen as we speak. But do you think that it's a good idea to still give it a chance, to give this cessation of operations a chance?
Nidhi, as far as the 2 ceasefires are concerned, the ceasefire on the line of control and the suspension of operations in the hinterland, the 2 are tactically not connected, but strategically there's a huge connect between the 2. And there is a public outrage on what's happening on the line of control, and the IB I think it's a little muted as far as what is happening in the hinterland. Let me explain to you. This morning, the GOC 15 Corps has also spoken that during the last 25 days, there has been virtually no recruitment reported. There are diversionary reports on this, but I tend to believe what GOC 15 Corps states. And there has also been a large increase in the number of incidents in the valley, but the number of casualties have gone down in a very marked way. So I won't say that this cessation of operations has in any way been a great success. But let me tell you broadly, what I learn is that the mothers in the valley have slept comparatively more peacefully. And that's the way I think we should look at it. 25 days to do this and not being prepared for it because the decision was taken almost at the last minute, I don't think is an insufficient time. Right at the beginning I had said we should have this suspension of operations right through to the Amarnath Yatra period. It may just happen that way. I think that will give it a greater chance. At the end of it, if it doesn't work out, you go back to what has been happening. There's nothing wrong with that. We will continue our operations. The only thing is that morally, we would be on a higher plank. We have offered peace to the separatists. We have offered peace to the terrorists. If they don't want to take that fig leaf, then it is their fault.
And General Hooda, would you tend to agree with that it's an important, more than, from a military perspective, an important political outreach more than anything else?
No, I completely agree with that. There are many positives to this. It's created an environment, it's created an atmosphere, of hope, and maybe we can take things forward from here. What will be crucial to me, Nidhi, is for whatever period this ceasefire is there, we don't know. Tomorrow, if there's a major terror attack, it might well get abrogated. But whatever period is there, I think the state government and the center needs to take advantage of this period and put in place some concrete steps. Merely looking at violence parameters and violence levels, I think will not do. So there are some other steps that need to be taken, an outreach to the people, attempt to get some local youth back who have been recruited,
I think that's important what you're saying. This is
media,
in fact, a good time for the center to take advantage of the situation and perhaps do something more in terms of reaching out. Thank you to all of you for joining us on this important subject tonight. Thank you very much to all of you.
Why did you get me?